Generic greetings and welcome to Preview Plus TIS-100, or is it TIS-100 or TIS-100 or TIS-100? I'm sure there's 1,000 ways to say it. Either way, this is basically a puzzle game, but you have to solve the puzzles via entering assembly language. It's by the same creators as SpaceChem and Infinifactory, and like those games, when I first saw it, I immediately thought I will probably love that game but also hate it at the same time, because I do have a love-hate relationship with puzzle games, and I thought this has to be the most extreme of its kind. I genuinely think that at the moment, this is probably the most niche game on the market. It is described as the assembly language programming game that you never asked for, and if I'm honest with you, I personally think that's quite accurate. I mean, I don't know about you. I really don't. I don't know you personally, but I've never thought myself, wow, I really wish there was a puzzle game where I have to enter assembly language in to actually solve the puzzles. I've never thought of that. I've never wanted, I've never contacted a developer, I've never thought about it, say, oh, maybe I'll make it myself, or maybe I'll look for it. Never done that. I mean, if you're sitting there going, well, it's the perfect game for me, then links in the description, close the video, just go and buy it, right? Because it is the game for you. For everybody else, or people who are just not sure what I'm on about, I'm going to show you a little bit of the game. I have to technically point out this is in early access, but it's Zachtronics early access, which basically means it's feature complete, all the campaigns there, it's pretty much done. The only reason it's in early access is because of like bug polish and reasons and things like that, but it's basically done. It's a done game, but yeah, I have to point out it is technically in early access. So I've played about an hour and 20 minutes of the game so far, which is really, really bad because I've only completed 3 of these. Well, look at these are all the levels here, and I've only completed 3 of them. I can't unlock these ones until I actually get these nodes done. There's a story that goes with it. And the idea is that someone picked a computer up, the TIS-100. They picked it up at, I think it said a swap meet, but basically a car boot sale. And they went, oh, I'll buy that off you. And then took it home and started to figure out what it is. And it's a bit corrupt, and there's, like I said, there's a story that goes with it and such. So I'm actually more interested in the story than the game. But I don't know. I like the idea of a machine that nobody knows what it is. It's like a legacy, redundant, lost machine that nobody really knows what it is or does, and it has a history. And I don't know, there's always something about that that really interests me. But so I'm actually really want to know the story on this one, which is the main drive for me actually to go through this and to persevere. So I'm going to jump in, as I said, and show you a bit of it. I'm going to only do one of the ones I've already completed, because otherwise you'll be sitting here for about 50 minutes or so while I go, what do I do now? And then, you know, basically like a dog with a chemistry set, because I have no idea what I'm doing. Right, so it is the signal comparator, something like that. Let's just jump in and we'll create a new program. So this is the main screen, and this is where we will be entering our program, putting some code in, and trying to complete the objective on the left. So we need to read a value from in. Okay, in is that there, and stored in that is all of these numbers here. So -2, -2, 2, 0, 0, 2, blah, 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 blah. Okay, and then what we have to do is we need to check the numbers, and we need to write 1 to out G, which is down the bottom, if the value is greater than 0. If it's not, then we do the other ones. If none of these are true, then basically we write 0 to these outputs instead. So there's the 3 outputs. So we've got out G, out E, and out L. Okay, so we need to bring the value in there, do some stuff, and either put 1 or 0 in these 3 outputs for every value that we look at. Okay, and as you can see, we've got the 3 outs there. So it's all put in. These are our nodes. So these are where we can put code in. All nodes have input and an output, so that basically means there's an output. For this node here, we've got 1 input there from the top, 1 input from the bottom, 1 input from the right, and then we've got an output from the to the bottom and an output to the right. We've got an ACK, which is the accumulator where we can store stuff. We've got the back, which is the backup, which we can store stuff, and I don't know what the last is. And then we've got mode, which is idle, reading, or writing. And basically, if you're in reading mode, you can't also say read something else, so it basically will deadlock and stuff. And you're probably thinking, how the hell do I know this? Well, I'm not a genius or anything like that. I have just read the manual, and yes, I mean manual. There is no tutorial with this. There is a 14-page manual, which I've actually printed out. I've actually printed the whole thing out, and I have it right in front of me now. It's 14 pages. It's the TIS-100 Tessellated Intelligence System Reference Manual, and there's a little bit of story that goes with it. It looks like it's been printed out I think they must have been designed where they've printed it out, they've gone through it with a highlighter and like they've put loads of marks on it with pen and circled different things and then scanned it back in, because there's even, it looks as if it's a photocopy because you can even see the old staple holes and things like that in it. And immediately, as soon as I got that, when you first fire the game up, it says there is a manual to this, you might want to print that out. And I thought, print it out, I'm not going to need that. And it fires up a PDF manual. I'm thinking, yeah, I'm going to print that because that's cool. So I have a 14-page double-sided manual, and I will be using it throughout this entire video. This is probably the only time when maybe a sort of face cam or a manual cam would be worth it. So anyway, the actual commands, we need to move some things around. Obviously, we need to process the inputs. I can press start, so I'm gonna press run, and technically my program's running. Okay, so we can see we've got -2 coming in, and we're not outputting anything like that, but the program is running flawlessly. So you know, that's fine. I guess that's the definition of a good program, is one that doesn't break. At least that in my mind. Obviously, programmers thinking no, it's about efficiency and about cycles. For me, if a program doesn't work, if a program doesn't break, then it's a good program. So this one is a good program. I mean, there's nothing in here, you understand, but still, let's stop that there. By the way, these red ones here, we can't do anything with them. It's basically a way to block up you moving things around. So communications failure. Also, we've got a debug button on some of them, which will then bring things up and say, oh, it's like a little basically story thing. So as you can see, it says the 9th of the 3rd, 1979, found a block of static memory, but it's in a proprietary format I've never seen before. Can't make head nor tails of it. Oh, bother. There's just too many different kinds of machines coming out now. I like tinkering with them as much as the next guy, but when every Dick and Mary implements their own memory address scheme, blah, 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 it's all, it's all like sort of broken and corrupt there. I think the bottom's going to drop out the my computer market soon. Mark my words. Anyway, let's just stop this. So what are we going to do? Well, for a start, we need to process the values that's coming in. We need to do something with them. So we can click on the boxes and we can type, okay? So we can just type, dog, cat, blah, 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 right? Invalid opcode. And it will give you some little pop-ups to say, oh, that's not working, things like that. You can press F1. And it brings up instruction sets. So NOP is no operation, move, MOV is move, so move, SRC, which is source, I guess, and DST is destination, short for that. So move something to something. We've got swap, which is swap AC and back, save, blah, 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 right? So we'll close that. Okay, we'll close that. So what do we need to do? Well, I'm going to move, so move, up, basically the thing that comes in from the top, and I'm going to move it right. Okay? So what will happen is when I run the program, it's going to move whatever comes in here, and then I'm going to move it to the right. So if I run it, there you go. It worked. So -2 came in, bang, and then moved to the right, bang. Now you're thinking, why is it not continuing on? Well, the reason for that is that this is in mode right. Basically, it can't continue until it's gone back to idle, or it's doing something else, right? Basically, it can't, because it's in write mode, it can't read. It can't read it, so the program stalls. It just goes bunk, can't go any further, and it's basically waiting for us to do something with this, okay? So if I say move right to the ACC, what's going to happen is we're going to move this down, it's going to move it right, and we're going to store whatever comes in into the accumulator, okay? And then that'll free up this to keep going. So what will happen, we'll be doing, this will keep running down, 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 down. All that'll happen is we'll bring it in, and then replace whatever in the accumulator with what's coming in. That's all that happens. So I'll break run. Nope. It broke. Why did it break? Of course. Because we're not moving it right. Left. From the left, of course. Run. There you go. So all we're doing is we're just trying to store it in there. That's all that happens. You can see it just runs straight through. Blah, 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 blah. The ACC is moving. You can see the mode's actually changing. So there you go. That's a very, very simple way of doing it. Excellent. Let's delete that because we don't need it. Okay, let's get on with this. So, you get the idea. We need to move this stuff and we need to start processing it down here. So the best thing to do is to move up, down, and then we'll copy that and we'll put it down there, we'll put it down there, and then we'll move it to the right. Okay, so what we're doing, we're moving in, move it from the top to the bottom, move from the top to the bottom, move from the top to the right, and shove it in here. So, what do we want to do with it? Well, our objective is to write 1, just a value of 1, to out G, which we are currently in the node which out G is at the bottom, if the value which we've inputted is greater than 0. Okay? So if the value is greater than 0, we have to say, yep, it's greater than 0, output a 1. If it's not, then we write a 0. So what can we do? Well, first we need to move from the left we need to move the value into the accumulator. Okay, is it accumulator? ACC. I think it's the accumulator. Hang on, let me get the manual. Architecture. ACC is the primary register for a basic execution node. ACC is used for implicit source of destination operand instructions, including algorithmic constitution instructions. Yeah, it's ACC. I don't see accumulator. I just don't know why I say accumulator. I think that's SpaceChem stuff. It's ACC, okay? Basically, place we can store stuff. So we moved the value from left into ACC. So this will run like the other one. So if we just run it, yeah, it's doing the same thing. But we're not doing anything really with it. So move it into there. So what else are we going to do? Well, we could think about checking it, which we do need to do. We need to check it, okay? So we need to write 1 to value G if in is greater than 0. Now, obviously, you might go, if ACC greater than 0, blah, blah, blah. Well, guess what? It's assembly language. Can't do that. So what we need to do, we need to set up some labels. So I'm going to say out. Okay? Output. Basically short for output. And we'll run this if that is the case. So assuming it is, what we want to do is we need to move 1 down. Okay? So that'll output 1 down. Let me just input that a little bit, indent that a bit so it's a little easier to read. Okay? So assuming that that is right, we move 1 down. Fantastic. That's very, very easy. How do we check that? Well, we need to check what's in ACC. So let's have a quick look. We need to jump to label if it is greater than 0. So J, G, Z. Okay? So it's J, G, Z. Because if it's greater than 0, we want to jump. So that what that does is it checks. So jump greater than 0. So if that's greater than 0, I want to jump to out. Okay, so it's going to jump to out and then do that. However, these run sequentially. So it means that if that'll go to there, so it'll move left ACC, so it'll store it in there. Then it'll say, if that's greater than 0, jump to this. But if it's not, it'll just continue on. Which means eventually, it'll come to that anyway. So we need to fix that. So what can we do? Well, I guess we'll say, what if we do something else? What if we say start? Okay, we make another label called start. Okay? And all of these are in the start. And we'll say JMP start. What that'll do, we'll bring the value in, it'll start here, and it will go put the value in the ACC. If it is greater than 0, then bang, you move to there, and then we'll put 1 into down, so which is outputting 1 if that's the case, and then we will say jump to start. Okay, we'll go back to start. If it's not the case, so it'll say jump greater than 0 out. Well, no, that's not right. So we go back to start, we jump back to the top. If we didn't have that, it would go jump greater than 0. Oh no, it's not greater than 0. Okay, fine, continue. It would just continue on. It would hit it eventually. So this fixes that problem. So should we try it? Let's run it. Oh dear, that broke. Okay, that broke all kinds of... Yeah, that broke a lot. So let's step through it. Let's see what went wrong. We'll debug the thing. So we got -2 there in the ACC. So we'll jump to the start. We'll step it. There you go. And we'll keep checking it. There we go. So it's jumped to out because ACC is 2 and it's going to move 1 down. So that works. What we haven't done, I haven't done, I've forgot to actually output 0 if it's not the case. So for the first two values, -2, -2, we know the two values so we can easily debug it. We know we should output 0 for them. So what we'll do, if basically we'll bring it in, we'll check to see if it's greater than 0. If it's greater than 0, we jump down here. If it's not, then we want to move 0 down and then jump back to the start. So that should write correctly in G. Should we run it? It does. There you go. So -2, -2, 2, 0. Let's just do the first 5. So -2. Nope. Should be 0. We're outputting 0. -2. Should be 0. We're outputting 0. 2. That is greater than 0. So that should be 1. We're outputting 1. So this functions. So that works. However, Out E and out L are currently not doing anything, so the program will not complete. I can run that as long as I want. You can see out E and out L are still waiting for stuff because we're not processing it any further, so we need to do that. So what I'll do, I will move from the left, and then, well, whatever comes in from the left will start in the ACC, and then I want to move the ACC to the right, and then we'll bring it over to here, okay? And then we'll do some more processing. So we'll copy that and we'll copy that, okay? So we'll do some more processing. So this is going to do the very similar thing. It's going to basically read in what's coming from the left and start in the ACC. And it's going to move it to the right because we need to do it for the same for L. We need to get it over there as well. But we need to jump to our out, but it's different this time because this is out E, and out E means if it's equal to 0. So if it's equal to 0, so is it's J-E-Z, jump equal to 0, J-E-Z, okay? So that will jump to the out if it's equal to 0, okay? So if it's equal to 0, it'll output 1. If it's not, it'll output 0. That's how it works. We'll go over to this one. That should work now. This one is a little bit different because we need to... what do we need to do? We don't need to move it right because it can't go any further. Move to the left. Jump. This one is L is if it's less than 0, so it'll be -0. So jump NZ, which is jump to label if the accumulator is not equal to 0. No, we don't want not equal to 0. We want less than 0, which is JLZ, which is jump to label if the ACC is less than 0. So jump JLZ. Okay, hang on. JLZ. So start it. Move from the left to the ACC. Jump down there if it is less than 0. Otherwise, put 0. That should work. Let's step it. So there's the number, -2. Coming down there, -2. -2 there. Shove it in. There's -2. Then what do? We shift it over. There you go. This is waiting for it. It catches it. It puts it in its ACC. By that time, this has already moved out to the JGZ, which is jump greater than 0. So is it going to jump? No, it's not, because it's not greater than 0. It's -2. By that time, this has already started in itself, in the ACC, and then moved it over to here. So we'll keep stepping it. Okay, so what should happen? Well, it should be 0, 0, 1. That's what it should be. So this has already figured out that it's not greater than 0. Okay, so it's going to output 0. This one has already found out, there you go, that it is not equal 0, so it's going to output 0. This one, however, as you can see, it's went jump less than 0, it's -2, that is less than 0, so it's already jumped down to our out label, which means it's move 1 down, so that's going to output output 1, which means if we step it, there you go, 0, we actually output 0, 0, we've output 0, 1, we've outputted 1. That has correctly worked. If we stop that and run it fresh, there you go. Our program works. It goes through the cycles, it checks all the inputs, it basically registers them all, checks them, and then outputs either 0 or 1 depending on the value. And that is a completion. There you go. Whew. That's a very simple one, that one, believe it or not. So, cycle count, I'm dead on the money for what most people have done. These are checked on the interwebs and such. We do have several pieces of communication equipment to check all this. So it is 278 cycles, dead on the money. Actually, probably the lowest that people can get. Node count statistics, 6. That's the lowest. Pretty much everybody's got 6. I think because it's an easy one. Obviously, there's going to be most people are going to be around this one. And the instruction count statistics. Oh, I'm not too good on that one. Look, I'm right in the middle there. So most people have got it around the say 18 to 20 area. I'm close to 25. So I've messed it up a little bit. I think I could probably remove a lot from the right there. I could probably move a lot from the right, and there's probably more I can do here because it'll just be inefficient somewhere. As I said, my definition of a good program is that it works or that it doesn't break, whichever way you want to look at it. Obviously, a proper definition is that it's efficient and does it properly and things like that. But from my point of view, it works. That's fine, no problem at all. Let's just go back to the segment list. But that is basically TIS-100. That is what you'll be doing throughout the game. You'll be doing different objectives. If I just go into this one here, the differential converter, this one is read values from A and B, and then we need to output, well, it says write, it's output basically, A minus B to out P, and this one is a B minus A to out P, so we'll need to bring them in, we'll need to swap them over, probably use the backups, then calculate them, and then move them over, and then bring them down. I haven't yet figured out how to swap them over and stuff, so we'll see about that one. Either way, that is the game. And I guess I'll get better at it if I continue playing, because I'll figure different things out, and it's obviously about reading the manual and trying to figure different things out and then going, getting eureka moments and stuff. But that's if I get that far. I have the manual here. I really want to know the story. I really like the idea, as I said earlier, about sort of a computer that nobody knows about and they're trying to figure out where it's come from, and I don't really know what it is, and I really love that idea. But again, love-hate relationship with puzzle games. I don't think I will ever get there. I can't see me get it. I mean, I'm struggling with some of these ones here. How the hell am I going to get these ones at the bottom? Almost probably not going to. So, final thoughts on the game. I love it. I genuinely love this game. But love is not the same as like. It is a very, very different thing. How can I put it? I really am happy that this game exists. We are in a time when a game like this can come out and be free for everybody to play. It's niche, fair enough. It's going to be for a very, very small percentage of people. But the fact that it exists is astonishing. The fact that someone can make this and bring it out. It's on Steam, so it's available to everybody. You know, it's not a really small thing in the corner that nobody knows about. And it's not like a hipster thing either. It exists, and it's there for everybody. And I'm truly, truly glad it exists. But most people are not going to like it. And I haven't even decided if I like it yet. But the fact that it exists is astonishing. And I really am happy that it does. The fact that it comes with a manual as well, that you have to print out and use, it feels more like a toy than a game. Like, I actually printed the manual out and I was flicking through the manual, and I was eating my breakfast while going through the manual, and I've already got my $4.99's worth out of this thing. You know, it's so cheap anyway that if you have any slightest inkling of giving it a go and you want to go through the story and you think it might be something for you, then just go for it. It's so cheap anyway. But if not, then I guess, well, you've probably turned this video off by this point, and, well, it's not for you. And it's unapologetic. It doesn't sit on a middle ground where it's not like a bland shooter with a couple of different elements. It's not like you might like this and you might like that. It's basically saying it's a puzzle game where you have to use assembly language to figure it out. And if you like that, fine. If you don't, then that's fine as well. You know, it's not apologetic in the slightest. But as I said, I love the game. I don't know if I like it. It exists, and that is a thing that is great. That is good enough. The fact that this thing exists and can be played by people. Links in the description so you can check it out yourself. I can't honestly say that I recommend it because I don't know if I recommend it to myself, but it's there, and that's good enough, I think. As I said, links in the description so you can have a look at it yourself. Thanks very much for watching. Take care, and generic partings.